Okay, we are live on YouTube, so take it away, Madam President.
Okay, we're going to start with a public hearing to vacate part of High Street between Garrison Street and Krogan, along with the alley between parcels 238, 239, 255, 254, 240, 241, 253, and 252. Do you want to take it from here, Erica?
Sure. The City Planning Commission, they met in a regular session to discuss a request submitted by the Berkshire Public Library. The library is planning a building renovation and a new building. So as part of this work, a portion of High Street will need to be vacated, along with the alleys that you described. The alleys run east and west on the old middle school property, along with the current existing library property. So to note that there were franchise utilities on High Street. There's none in the alley, just on High Street between Garrison and Krogan. So the city will have to get easement for those utilities. But other than that, the city just recommended that this the library's new building addition and renovation. I don't have any other things to add. Does anybody have any questions?
Does anybody from the library want to comment or have anything to say?
I'm Pam Hessman. I'm the director at the library, and yeah, we've been working on this project for a couple of years, and part of the project obviously is having to vacate the streets, and so this is something that we are hoping that we will have approval of the city council for. But this all started back in 2016 when we did a survey of the public, and they told us that they wanted more spaces for people in the library, for tutoring rooms, and for technology, and a whole slate of different things. And so the new addition to the library will have a new entrance on the north side of the building, and that'll be pretty much right in the middle of where High Street currently is. We're seeing this last week how much we really do need that new entrance, because we're trying to plan how we can keep people apart coming into our building when we reopen. Our current entryways and lobby is only 10 feet wide. And so that's a real challenge to get people in and out of the building and checking materials out and making copies all in that 10-foot wide space when you're supposed to be keeping people 6 feet apart. So that's just another thing that brought home to us how much this addition to the library is really needed. So, thank you.
If this all gets approved, when do you want to break ground?
Well, the one thing that would be holding it up at this point in time is because we are a historic property, we do have to do an archaeological survey. We've done archaeological survey number 1, and the Ohio Historic Preservation Office wants us to do additional archaeological surveys. So we do need to dig trenches across the north end of High Street to see if there are any archaeological features down there, such as the west wall of the fort, possibly. So that has to be completed, and we have to have the historic preservation folks sign off on it. But we do have an archaeologist hired. He has an excavating team, and he's ready to go anytime that that street is vacated or approved for digging. So.
Thank you.
You, excuse me.
Go ahead,
Me, Angie?
Angie.
Yeah, Pam, on
Yes.
this, on construction, you have to do that archaeological testing.
Yes.
So after that, how soon can you build start building?
Well, yesterday we had the people who are submitting proposals to be our construction managers on the site. So we will be conducting interviews with them within the next month. And as soon as we have a construction manager hired, we would be able to complete the blueprints process. So assuming that that could get started as soon as possible, it could be the end of August when we were breaking ground if everything fell into place perfectly. But other than that, it'll probably be September or October.
So the one thing that is holding you back right now is, well, you know, you have to have our approval, but after you get your approval, you still can't go into construction until you have the diggings.
Right, we would need approval from the city to go ahead and start to close the street in order to start the dig.
And how long will these diggings take approximately?
He assumed that the actual dig would take 5 days, but then they would be examining what they find. The initial archaeological survey included ground penetrating radar. So if they find something that looks like it's a possible archaeological find, they would bring in ground penetrating radar as well.
Did they find anything during the previous time they did this? You said
What they found, they did ground penetrating radar on the school block and found 4 areas that they call anomalies. And it means there's something below the surface that looks like it could be a partial wall or something like that. And we're guessing it's probably debris left over from when they took down the school building that covered almost that entire block. But we're being required to dig up those 4 anomaly areas to make sure that they're not actually something that might have been related to Fort Stevenson.
And one more question, just because I'm reading the legislation. Could you explain again what portion of High Street we are vacating? Well,
It's one block of High Street between
okay.
Croghan and Garrison.
Between Croghan and Garrison?
Correct.
Okay. So the block kind of in between where the school used to be and the library, that street right now.
That's correct. Yes.
I have a question for you, Pam, if I may.
Sure.
Some of the people at the Elks Club were a little concerned because when they have a major event, which isn't that often,
Mhm.
was good parking, especially for the seniors, because they didn't have to walk up any steps, anything like that.
Right.
Will they be able to use a little of your parking lot?
Yes, they will. I've already been over there and talked to the Elks, and most of the events that they have are in the evenings on weekends, and those are times when the library's closed. So that parking lot's just sitting there empty. So there's no reason why they wouldn't be able to use that.
Thank you very much.
Ken, have you-
Justin,
From the,
I posted a map for you, for the council to see the limits for the vacated areas. So you should got that in the email as part of the documentation.
What do
It's highlighted in yellow.
What, Pam,
Yes.
what do you plan on doing with the rest of the property? If you vacate High Street there and you build
Yes.
into the former middle school,
Right.
do you have any plans for the rest of the property?
The northern end of the property will be the new parking lot that goes with the new entrance. The southern end, at this point in time, we're just looking at keeping it as green space that could be available for outdoor programming.
Okay. Thank you.
Ken, have you had any questions from the public?
I have no questions from the public as of yet.
Okay. Anybody else have anything?
Yeah, Madam President, just want to share that in addition to, I know the Elks are one neighbor. I spoke to the psychologist on the corner there, and she, looks forward to the library expanding, and she had a very good attitude about all this happening, and she's about the next closest main landowner there, so she's excited for it.
Thank you.
I'd just like to add, Mrs. Hafford, President Hafford, I'd just like to add that I think that this is a good idea of taking High Street, and vacating it to make use for the library. I think it'll give people more of an opportunity to take advantage of the library. And I think with the added parking, it'll be easier for even the older people, that might have a problem. It'll be easier for them to have access to the library. I'm sure that with the new additions, they'll have the handicap sidewalks and all that available for them.
Yes, actually, with the current building, it's 82 feet to the closest handicap parking space. And with the new building, it will be 25 feet. So it'll be a lot closer.
It will be a very nice addition to our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we want to wait a specific amount of time, Ken, before we close this?
Yes, please. Yeah, I'll let you know when the YouTube live stream catches up with what we're saying.
Okay.
Madam President, there are no questions from the public.
Okay. I'd say that we can close this meeting then.
Okay.